At one point, Tucker Carlson was viewed as a journalist. He was respected as such. He was the highest paid host over there on Fox News, even though the rest of us knew he was lying. He was a flaming racist, and he was going to be the death of our democracy. Since his firing from Fox, he has been ignored. He has not been able to recoup the viewers and the support that he had when he was on Fox News. And so in an attempt to do that, he's choosing to bring up an old conspiracy theory about former President Barack Obama. Let's talk about it. It's been years since President Obama has held office. Since he's left office, he has been enjoying life with his beautiful children and his beautiful wife. He's not even active like that in the Democratic Party. He comes out only when need be. Only when need be. And so how desperate is Tucker Carlson to try to regain some type of notoriety, the notoriety he had when he was on Fox News, to invoke President Obama's conspiracy theory that was put out there, that was driven by the Republican Party. Watch this clip.
You're just a guy who's in town for the night, and it sounds like you're looking to party.
Yeah. Pulled up in a bar outside, and there's this guy that's introduced to me as Barack Obama. I had given Barack $250 to pay for coke. I start putting a line on a CD tray to snort, and next thing I know, he's got a little pipe and he's smoking. So I just started rubbing my hand along his thigh to see where it was going, and it went the direction I had intended it to go.
Even though you had sex with him twice, you did cocaine with him, watched him smoke crack twice, you had no idea who he was.
I had no idea who he was.
Let me just ask the obvious question. What was Obama like on crack? Is it your sense that that's who Obama is, just transactional, or that he's bisexual, or like what is this?
It definitely wasn't Barack's first time, and I would almost be willing to bet you it wasn't his last.
The guy's running for president, and credible information comes out that he's smoking crack and having sex with dudes. That seems like a story.
Well, it would be a story if the media really cared about telling people the truth.
The story that man tells could never be validated. In fact, he did a polygraph exam. He did 2, and it came back that he was being deceptive. This man has a long rap sheet of criminal activities. This man has changed his name twice, only to go back to his original name. A complete, full investigative report was done by Politico. Let's talk about what Politico reported. Now, mind you, these allegations are steeped in racism, homophobia. Let's be clear. They were doing anything. The Republican Party was attempting to do anything to try to stop this man's momentum, to try to stop him from running for president of the United States. And when they couldn't find anything legally that would stick to him, they proceeded to make things up. The Republican Party came up with this homosexual drug-induced relationship between him and this dude here. which has never been able to be validated or confirmed. They weren't able to find credit card receipts. They weren't able to verify telephone records. They weren't able to do any of that. But Politico did a full investigative report into this man and his allegations. Let me read this article. Larry Sinclair is wanted in Colorado, but you can catch him today at the National Press Club. Now, this was written back in 2008, and there is, what he did was Larry Sinclair rented a room at this place where this event was taking place, and he held a press conference. Journalists were there. It was a weird press conference to me. Every so often throughout the press conference, he would have these coughing spells, and that was just me looking. It was just weird. Was that divine intervention? In my thought process was, the Lord is choking you up for these lies that you are telling. But the press conference is here on YouTube. I'll link it in the description box. Sinclair is familiar to political junkies and reporters as the source of outlandish allegations about Senator Barack Obama, tales that began with sex and drugs and moved on to murder. The Duluth, Minnesota resident is the sort of figure who appears at the margins of every presidential campaign, and both presidents, George W. Bush and Bill Clinton, had their own obscure accusers with dramatic allegations. Everybody who's running for president has some type of individual who comes out with this dramatic, crazy nonsense about the political candidate. Joe Biden had his own. Tara Reid, remember her? She came out and accused Joe Biden of sexually assaulting her. Remember? Right? Since that time, Tara Reid has actually moved to Russia. Did you know that? Yeah, she's actually moved to Russia. But as the old media ignores him, Sinclair has taken full advantage of the internet and a video in which he makes his claims that have been viewed more than 900,000 times on YouTube. That video is gone. I went looking for it, couldn't find it. This afternoon, he's reserved the home and lounge at downtown Washington's National Press Club to try to lend his story the legitimacy that comes with national media attention. And the reason why he did it at the time that he did it was because there was something else going on, a bloggers convention, something like that. And he was trying to attach himself to that event in the hopes that it will get more people interested in him telling his story. And him telling his story is attached to a book that he had written in regards to this situation. So he wants more notoriety to bring, he wants attention, and he wants to bring it towards this book that he has written. Since Sinclair's biography, though, may get in the way of that pitch, public records and court filings reveal that he has a 27-year criminal record with a specialty in crimes involving deceit. The record includes forgery charges in 2 states, one of which drew Sinclair a 16-year jail sentence. The Pueblo County, Colorado Sheriff's Office also has an outstanding warrant for Sinclair's arrest for forging an acquaintance signature and stealing her tax refunds. Quote, "It is what it is," said Sinclair spokesman Montgomery Blair Sibley of his client's criminal record. Quote, "He's not hiding from it. He's not denying it." End quote. Sinclair has, however, addressed elements of his criminal past on his own blog and in court filings punctuated by unusual spellings and capitalizations. Addressing the Pueblo County theft charges, Sinclair swore in a 2004 affidavit that he is, quote, alleged victim seeks to use defendant as scapegoat for her husband's and brother's problems with the Mexican drug cartel, end quote. Sinclair's affidavit, which he posted to his blog, accompanied a request to a Colorado judge to dismiss the warrant on the grounds that Sinclair was disabled with a severe spine injury and nerve damage, that returning to Colorado will put his life in danger, and that he was terminally ill. He was terminally ill. This was written back in 2008, and he's still alive and kicking. Sinclair, who is still alive, is 46, stands 5'7", and weighs 168 pounds, according to arrest records. Colorado records list him with 13 aliases, including Larry Vizcarra, Alvilia, and Mohammed Gahanan. His story has generally been ignored by the mainstream media because he's been unable to substantiate his allegations. But in that press conference that he did, he'll tell everybody else. This is what you need to look for. You can find the information. Listen, if you're coming forth with these allegations, you should have your backup, your research, your proof in hand. You should have evidence to back up your story in hand. He had none of that during that press conference, just a statement that he read. Okay, moving on. He has come to public attention recently, however, because his planned appearance at the National Press Club drew complaints from a wide array of prominent liberal bloggers led by Fire Dog Lakes Jane Hampshire. Their petition to prevent Sinclair from renting space at the club, which bloggers feared would lend him credibility, drew more than 11,000 signatures. So they were having some type of events, and he tagged along onto their event hoping that he would get some type of notoriety. These bloggers who were having this event didn't want him to be there because him attaching himself to their event, they felt it would give him some sort of credibility. So they tried to stop it. It didn't work because, as I said, he had his press conference. Press Club President Sylvia Smith said Sinclair had rented space at the club which doesn't censor speakers. Quote, "I'm not aware that we've ever turned anybody away for content," she said, adding that Sinclair's allegations don't seem very credible. End quote. Politico isn't reprinting Sinclair's allegation because they are unsubstantiated. When you're coming forth with these types of allegations and you want to be taken seriously, you have evidence, you have proof to prove your claim. He came forth with nothing but his story. This February, the website whitehouse.com reportedly offered Sinclair $100,000 if he could pass a polygraph test verifying his claims. So I think this website is still in existence. Somebody else took it over, or somebody revamped it or something. I think it's still out there somewhere, somehow today. But they were interested in his story, but they wanted to be able to have some type of proof to say, well, there may be some legitimacy to his story. Let's do this polygraph test, which would possibly add credence. It wouldn't work in a court of law, but yeah, let's do this. And we'll pay you $100,000. And the con man said, yeah, let's do it. He took them up on it, and the site said in a press release that the polygraph organizers said his results indicated deception. Sinclair then suggested the polygraph sponsors have been bribed to skew the results against him, an allegation his lawyer Sibley said he would expand on at his press conference. Now, I think I tapped out if this was discussed at the press conference. Yeah, because I don't remember them addressing this polygraph test and his allegations that they were offered $750,000 to, mess with these results somehow. And the people who did the polygraph examinations and provided the results turned around and sued Larry Sinclair because they considered him defaming their character. Wednesday, WhiteHouse.com has scheduled a competing press conference outside the National Press Club to discuss the results of the polygraph. Sinclair's brushes with the government long predate his recent interest in Senator Obama. The details of his criminal record surfaced after he filed a defamation suit in federal court in Washington, D.C. against 3 anonymous online critics with names like Tube Sock Ted D., who had written, among other claims, that he was living in a mental institution at the time he allegedly met President Obama. Sinclair denies the claims. In response to his suit, a lawyer for the anonymous bloggers hired local attorneys and private investigators and dug up details of Sinclair's criminal record from Colorado, Florida, and South Carolina. The lawyer, Paul Levy, of the nonprofit Public Citizen Litigation Group, provided his client's findings in federal court, which are publicly available to Politico. The records tell the story of an itinerant life of small-time crime and bad checks, punctuated by stretches of jail time in 2 states. He was first arrested on a larceny charge in 1981 in Denver, according to his Colorado arrest record. As filed in federal court in 1985, he was convicted of theft and of forging a check in Florida and sentenced to a year in jail, according to Florida records filed in federal court. After the Florida episode, according to the records, he returned to Colorado, where he faced check fraud and credit card charges in 1986. Then in 1987, he was convicted in Colorado on more serious forgery charges and sentenced to 16 years in jail. In prison, according to state records filed in federal court, Sinclair was disciplined 97 times for infractions including assault, threats, drug possession, intimidation, and verbal abuse, not most recently in 1996. He, quote, he has not institutionalized well, a spokesperson for the Colorado Department of Correction, Liz McDonough, told the Denver Post in 1996 after a month-long Sinclair hunger strike. She said he had served time in prisons in Buena Vista, Delta, Limon, and Canyon City before being transferred to the state's maximum security penitentiary in 1993. In the summer of 1996, according to Colorado's state court database, he began proceedings to formally change his name from Larry Viz Avila to Larry Wayne Sinclair. By 1999, according to a mention in a local newspaper, he was out of jail and living in Pueblo, Colorado. The public citizen investigator in Colorado stated that Sinclair's outstanding legal troubles there appear to date from 2001, and that Sinclair's effort to convince the judge in 2004 to dismiss those charges failed. The Pueblo County Sheriff's Office, which pictures Sinclair under the word wanted, cites felony theft and forgery charges. Sinclair was also arrested and charged with disorderly conduct in South Carolina last September, according to state records filed in federal court. Sinclair has said that he tried to contact Obama in 2007 to discuss his claims and was ignored, forcing him to go public. On January 18, 2008, a 1-minute and 42-second video was posted to YouTube. It features Sinclair speaking in a high voice and wearing a red shirt and blue baseball cap, reciting his allegations and addressing Obama. Quote, "I challenge you to take a polygraph test," end quote. This is what he said in the video. Since then, he's promoted and elaborated on his claims, so his story's changed. He didn't take anything away from the story. He added on to it to make it more elaborate. on his claims and engaged in intense online exchange with infuriated Obama supporters on his blog and in federal court, where Sinclair and Sibley's defamation claim has suffered a series of legal setbacks. Obama's spokesperson declined to comment on any aspect of Sinclair's story or his appearance at the press club. Despite the warrant for Sinclair's arrest, he appears likely to stay out of jail as long as he stays out of Pueblo, Colorado. Hall said that the warrant doesn't allow for extradition from out of state. So if he was in South Carolina where he committed other crimes, Colorado is not going to be looking to have him extradited back to Colorado. If he's not within the state of Colorado, he's free to live his life. Quote, I doubt very seriously we're going to be in that jurisdiction tomorrow, end quote. Sinclair's notoriety and his scheduled press conference, however, has drawn the interest of the Colorado authorities. Quote, we've notified the Federal Bureau of Investigation and they will investigate, end quote. Now, at that press conference after it was over, he was in fact arrested. Yes, the bloggers had him, the bloggers who he attached himself in order to gain some sort of notoriety, they had his ass arrested. So you see, he's had this long history. He is a criminal, forgery. Most of his charges are in relation to deceit. And in that press conference, he's talking about his character. Your long criminal history tells us all we need to know about your character. The fact that you have come forth with these allegations but have no proof to back it up, yeah, that tells us about your character. And to later learn that your attorneys were also doing criminal things and were suspended and one was disbarred. Yeah, I would say that, yeah, there's a reason why no one believes you. No one took you seriously. Now, there's more to the story when it comes to President Obama with these gay rumors and these drug fuel rumors. When President Obama ran for the presidency, he was a member of a church out in Chicago. It was Trinity something. I'm moving off of memory with this one. And there was the choir director. I believe his name was David or Donald Young. And because President Obama was a part of the church, they connected him to the choir director, and they said that the choir director and President Obama had some type of relationship. Never any proof provided. It's all rumor. It's all word of mouth. Now, the choir director, Donald Young, was murdered in his apartment in Chicago. So when you see this article that Politico is talking about, and at the entry paragraph, it says that Sinclair brought, let me read it. Let's get it right. The opening paragraph says, Sinclair is familiar to political junkies and reporters as the source of outlandish allegations about Senator Barack Obama, tales that began with sex and drugs and moved on to murder. That's what they're talking about. The murder of David or Donald Young, who was the choir director at the church that President Obama attended. They take this rumor, they elaborate on it further. They talk about this sex ring that was taking place at the church. Child, nobody is ever bringing forth any proof. They never have someone who was a part of the ring. They don't have anybody who saw Larry Sinclair with President Obama. They have nothing but what this man is saying. This is the mindset of these individuals who believe this nonsense like that. You come at me with that type of story, I'm going to be like, huh? Oh, what? And if I'm interested, I'm going to want proof. I'm going to want solid in-hand proof. You were on the phone with President Obama. Y'all talked back and forth on the phone. I'm going to need for you to provide those records. Prove to me. You was visiting his city and he was there to take you around the city and y'all had gay sex. Prove it to me. You say you were in a car, you had a driver. Where's the driver to validate what it is that you're saying? You can't even produce the driver to validate what you're saying. And this is what Tucker Carlson is now doing. A former president, umpteen years ago, he's bringing forth a dude to further spew conspiracy theories that could not be substantiated. He could not provide proof. He took 2 lie detector tests and was found to be deceptive. But then later in that press conference is going to bash the lie detector test by saying there's a reason why they're not admissible in court. But you were willing to take them because you thought you was going to get that $100,000. Listen, this is Tucker Carlson now, the purveyor of conspiracy theories and lies. He can't even get on a network. A lot of people thought that he was going to be pulled in to Fox, from Fox to CNN. CNN wouldn't even touch him. So now he's reduced to doing this nonsense over on Twitter, X, which isn't taken seriously either. Y'all let me know your thoughts. Put it down below. I'll see y'all in the next one.